Every time I come to Melbourne, Joe takes me out, we go for a bit of a wander, we get some amazing produce and we come back into this beautiful kitchen and we do some cooking. This really is something to die for.
There's nothing like it in Australia.
Wow, wow, wow. This smells like Christmas. It's like chai in the morning mixed with some Moroccan spice.
Well, of course, no great dinner party is complete without some amazing wine, and there's no better place to come than Bottega Tusca, Anthony, to get a great bottle of wine. We're here with Paul, one of the owners. Go, Paul. How are you, mate?
Hello, Joe.
Good to see you.
Hi,
now, you guys have been in the street for how long?
Well, we've been in the street for over 35 years, so...
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really are the king of plonk.
Definitely, yeah.
But so your dad...
Yeah, so I started working... My dad was working up in the corner at King Godfrey for 25 years. We were partners there, so we ran the business for our partners and ourselves, and, you know, obviously... being a very Italian area, we fell right into it. And so I started working with Dad when I was 23 and just kept going. So, and then after a few years, well, we decided to open up our own, and that's how we ended up here. And we've been here now for the last 13 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I mean, so it's in your blood, really.
Absolutely. Wine flows through the veins.
I like it.
So basically grew up like that, and you know, wine and food was always part of you know, how we lived at home. So
there's been a really big varietal movement. A lot of the Italian stuff that's coming into the Australian market, and then there's a lot of Australian growers and producers who are producing a lot of these, you know, I guess these boutique
different Italian
blends.
varietals. Yes.
Absolutely. So being in Melbourne and on Lygon Street.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, or have you always had the ability to stock things like Nero d'Avola and Vermentino, Nebbiolo, all those things, or is that new kind of being chic?
There's no doubt that over the years, probably the last 5 years, we've seen a huge increase in the different Italian varietals coming out. So predominantly Chianti was available, Barolo, but then there's been an explosion of different wines coming over because people have travelled a lot more to Italy.
Yeah,
they've gone to a lot of different areas, and they've come back and said to us, you know, we were in this particular spot, and you know, we really want to relive the experience, and they, you know, they want to find the areas from where they visited. So, or find the wine, from where they visited.
Well, the question I wanted to ask was, you know, competing against all the big guys out there, having a boutique establishment. You know, how do you keep that going? You know, what do you think is your
the key
X factor?
is, look, you know, we deal with a lot of distributors, and they're very happy to have their wines in a shop like ours because, you know, they know that we have the clientele that are interested in different wines, and, you know, that's where they know they can place them. I mean, obviously, if they go with a chain sort of operation, they know most likely it's not going to work. They'll see a different varietal there, so... You know, that's how we focus on that. So we'll taste the wine and we'll say, yeah, this is what we think we should do, and if we can work with it, we'll go full steam ahead with it.
Yeah, wow.
Tonight we're doing a Moroccan tagine theme.
Yeah.
What's going to go good with that?
Well, definitely, I would probably recommend some wine from the south, be it from Puglia or Sicily, something that's quite rich.
Yes.
You know, obviously being Moroccan, there'll be quite something hot, spicy. And, so that's where I think that sort of grape would, you know, really enhance what you're eating.
Yeah.
So.
So that's kind of led to another question I wanted to ask is, what's become popular in the last few years and why? What's changed?
Definitely the southern part of Italy has really started to shine. I mean, years ago they would send their wine up north and then they'd blend it in with other wines, but now the areas have become quite proud of what they produce, and they really want to shine with who they are. And I mean, the regional food, you know, they really focus on, you know, making the right varietals for the food that they're presenting.
So there you have it, Bottega Tusca. So if you are holding a dinner party or something special or nothing at all, you just want to pop in, say good day to Paul. He's always happy to have a chat. The selection is absolutely incredible, and he's very knowledgeable. So do yourselves a favour, come on down here, Bottega Tusca, have a quick chat to Paul. He's been in the business for a long time. His brother's here as well. Come and see the guys. They're definitely going to help you. Very knowledgeable and plenty of plonk for whatever you need.
Well, here we are, Milk the Cow, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. We're having a dinner party tonight, and of course, no dinner party is complete without a nice cheese platter. Look, some people finish the dinner party with cheese. I actually like to start the dinner party with cheese, and a kind of great cheeses at the beginning of the night.
It's got a sort of for breakfast. So,
sorry,
yeah, in France they have it for breakfast.
Yeah,
so
right.
Whenever you want. Yeah.
It's the perfect icebreaker.
Yes.
Cheese, a cracker, quickly go in and hey, hello. It starts the conversation. So I love starting at the beginning of a dinner party.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, mate, tell us your inspiration behind this. I mean, give us a brief background of where you come from and why did you start this concept?
Well, I was going to many restaurants around Melbourne, and I found that they all had a very similar type of cheese plate. It was a hard cheese, a brie, a soft cheese, and a blue cheese, and that was it.
Yeah.
There was one particular place in Prahran. I lived in Windsor,
Yeah.
and I'd go there after work, and the kitchen was closed down,
Yeah.
and I would always just have the cheese plate. And I looked at the menu, and I went, "Oh, the menu's changed. I bet you that means they've got a new cheese plate."
Yeah.
And the cheese came out, and it was the same cheese again. So the chefs just did always the same type of cheeses.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if you'd go somewhere and you could walk along a 5-metre cabinet of cheese, and there'd be a cheesemonger there to speak to, and there'd be 100, 300 cheeses to choose from, and then you could have a conversation about which, if you wanted a whiskey, what cheese would go with the whiskey, or if you wanted a beer, what cheese would go with the beer, and that's where the concept started. And our signature is called a flight, which I'll show you later on, which is sort of 4 parts cheese matched to 4 parts booze.
Yep.
Our biggest seller is wine flight. And 80% of our customers just come in for that wine flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was born from that idea. You weren't like a cheesemonger. You're in the restaurant business.
No.
Right?
I'm not a cheese expert.
Yeah.
I'm a cheese eating expert.
Yeah.
But look, I love cheese. I love booze. My favourite match is cheese and whiskey.
Yeah.
But
That's interesting.
it goes very well with beer as well. So a lot of people like that. But we also try to do a few different ones. We do cheese and sake, for instance.
Yeah, right.
We've done cheese and tequila.
Yeah.
I love that you have not mentioned cheese and wine yet.
Yeah.
I love that you've gone scotch or whiskey.
Yeah.
Sake, beer.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all which. There are some beautiful boutique brewers and some distillers out there making some amazing stuff that really complements this amazing selection that you have.
Exactly.
So I love that you're out of the box and you're not going red wine, white wine, sparkling.
And so we try to
Beautiful.
support local as well, but we
Absolutely.
basically get the best cheese we can from around the world and
Yep.
match it to the best booze from around the world.
Yeah.
So if it's a Trocken style Riesling that goes perfectly with one cheese, that's what we'll put with it, you know?
I've got to say, when I walked in, and I say this with the utmost respect, and it's very delicate, but I love the stink that hit me. Like the door opened and I went, wow.
Yeah, it smells like cheese.
Yeah.
But
as it should.
it's
unique,
it's
isn't
funny, but there's different tones. I can actually smell different layers of odour. It's
Yep.
not just this stink. It's this pungent.
Well, some of the cheese in there is the stinkiest cheese you can get. You
Yeah.
know, like the one Epoisse is actually banned on public transport in France. To eat it, that is.
Yeah.
One
so
of the
that's-
team members actually, they've kind of gone through it. They are
Yeah.
amazingly trained and they really know their stuff.
They do. We spend a lot of time on training and trying to get them all up to a certain
Yeah.
level, and it's also their own passion.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, so we change the flight every month. We're going to learn all those new cheeses.
Yeah.
So we put tasting notes out, and they spend time at home reading, googling, and a bit of passion on it.
Yeah.
Both
Now-
fronts.
You've got 2 stores, is that right?
Yeah, so Fitzroy Street, St Kilda,
Yep.
and Lygon Street, Carlton.
Yeah.
And we also have a warehouse where we deliver hampers right around Australia.
Right.
Brilliant.
And we deliver locally every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us something we don't know or people don't know about a particular cheese. I mean, you told us about the one in France, but
So
what's interesting for you?
going
Yeah.
on Epoisse is
Yeah.
quite it's quite a special cheese. So it's still made by monks and it's still aged in a cave in France.
Right.
The reason why they produced it in the first place, it's rubbed in brandy or cognac.
Yeah.
And when they're during Lent and they're not eating meat, they have Epoisse because the rind of it actually ends up with a kind of bacony flavour to it.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
Yes.
that's a very interesting cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
okay.
milk the cow? I love the name.
Because
It
if you
is-
want cheese, you got to milk the cow.
fair enough.
So we could have called it milk the goat or milk the sheep, but
Yeah.
we just went milk the cow.
It's got a really good ring. I love the name.
What's your favourite unique cheese that you have here? Give us a top 3.
Repignard is probably one of my favourites.
Which is a
It's a Dutch cheese, Dutch
Yep.
Gouda.
Yep.
That's probably my favourite.
that's the
Fromage
one
de
we tried
Meaux, the
that.
big.
yes.
big round brie from France. I like the classics.
Yep.
You know, I like the cheese that was made the same way for centuries by experts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's sort of my favourite.
Yeah.
There's brie and then there's brie.
Absolutely. Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So yeah, no, that's great.
And now, I mean, most of the cheese that is imported, does it still have to be pasteurised by law? Because
Not anymore. That
right,
law
okay.
changed.
Oh,
but
that's
we
good,
still
yeah.
have certain, like there's two sort of main companies in Australia that bring in most of the cheese.
Yep.
And then they have the license for that cheese. So
Right.
we can't import certain cheeses ourselves. We
Right.
have to go through because they have the license
Yeah.
for
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. I mean, that you noticed, you know, going to buy cheese in France.
Yeah.
And you go, this is so different because it doesn't have to be pasteurised, which allows more of the microorganisms to grow, which then gives it that flavour.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're lucky now that we can bring in those cheeses
Yeah.
and have them. Because I was in the US for a couple of years and they still banned a lot of the cheeses that we have here in this cabinet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Daniel. So we've talked about the wine flight. So let's give it a go.
Well, here's our lovely Martina, who's going to come over and go through our signature wine flight. So it's 4 parts wine, 4 parts cheese. And I'll let Martina go through it for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So what have we got here, Martina?
So that's our best-selling wine flight.
Yes.
Which is a combination between 4 wine and 4 cheeses.
Yes.
The combination is being studied on purpose to have a nice marriage between the wine and the cheese. Usually we start always from left to right in
Yes.
terms of intensity. In this case, we have Vavoambal, which is a Blanc de Blanc. That means made only with white grapes. Is from France and is 100% Chardonnay grapes. So it would be a little bit dry and goes together with a Cravero Parmigiano Reggiano.
Okay.
I couldn't be prouder of this cheese because it's Italian.
Absolutely.
So it's quite salty and nutty.
Yes.
The nutty flavor in the end is aged is aged for a long period of time, so it would be groundy and for the crystallization.
Oh.
And so it's a very good combination. It's
Yes.
super high in protein and it will be a little bit fatty, so the sparkling from the wine will clean your mouth properly.
Brilliant.
Okay, let's give it a go. So good. How do you know how to match them? Do you just sit there and you just try the wine
Oh, wow.
and then try different cheeses with that particular wine?
Yeah, well, the person that have obviously much more knowledge about cheese, and talk with the person that has much knowledge about wine, and they find the right combination between the protein level, the fattiness, the flavor, the acidity, the sweetness. So the second one is Fritz Riesling from Germany.
Yes.
Fritz Riesling from Europe usually are quite dry and mineral. This one indeed it is. He has a snappy acidity in the end with some apple notes, and goes together with a Vingard, which is a Gouda.
Gouda.
A Gouda is an aged goat cheese from Netherlands.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's a Dutch cheese, and it wouldn't be the acid and lemony as usually goat cheese are. This one is aged indeed for a while, so it's a semi-hard cheese. And the flavor, usually who doesn't like goat cheese loves this one because it's very mild, it's very
Yes.
delicate, easy to be eaten.
Yes.
And goes together with the Fritz Riesling. Fritz Riesling from Germany.
Oh, it's good, isn't it?
Well, I love the cheese. Like normally Riesling that I drink, it's quite petrol-y. So it'd be interesting to see how this works together. That's not petrol-y at all, is it?
Oh, geez, I like that.
Oh, they're very different Riesling. Depends where they came from. Australian Riesling has a completely different flavor.
Oh, I love that.
So the third one is our best-selling rosé. Is a Romedor from France. It's a super light rosé in color as well. It's a slightly mineral with some fruit notes like strawberries and red berries fruit. So it's very
Thank you, Gouda.
very
It's all right, mate.
nice rosé, and it goes together with a motai, which is a goat cheese from
Yep.
France. This one particularly one is very runny, as you can see in the middle, and is wrapped in barley leaves.
Oh.
That gives a little bit of earthy flavor, and like they usually call wet flow forest flavor. So obviously because it's a goat milk, it will be a little bit acid and lemony with a tart flavor
Yep.
in the end. But yes, goes together with a beautiful rosé.
That is nice. So far, that's still mine.
Well, I like this one.
So the last one is a Moldrock Pinot Noir from Mornington Peninsula, so we stay in Australia. It's a quite full-bodied Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
It might remind you of Shiraz style, but still Pinot Noir, so quite
Yep.
dry and light. Has a deep color though,
Yep.
and goes together with our Joe Avati, which is a sheep milk sauce French cheese.
Yep.
It's a semi-hard cheese, and it's one of the most delicious recipe.
Like it coats your mouth really, really nicely. Whereas a pecorino is very sharp. It's really nice. We should actually get the dinner party to move here. Just put everyone along here. Cheese and wine, and then we can kind of stumble out and get an Uber later.
Yeah. So get down to Milk the Cow if you're in Melbourne, St Kilda or Carlton. You know, Melbourne's famous for its tiny, you know, it's miniature market. Let's call them miniature markets.
Yep. This is what it's like shopping with Joe Avati.
I'm Betty, I'm Greek, and I can relate.
You literally get stopped everywhere you go.